This week on the RV Podcast,
General Motors wants to monitor your driving abilities and your reaction times and then report when you are too old to drive.
if you are camping in bear country this time of year, our conversation of the week is with an expert who reveals just what you should do when you encounter a bear. This is super important information you need to know.
You're thinking about a washer and dryer for your RV? We'll tell you what to look for and what to watch out for.
All this plus the RV news of the week and your questions coming up in episode 564 of the RV Podcast.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Wendland, and this is my lifelong traveling companion and my bride, Jennifer.
Hello, Mr. Mike.
We have had an awesome week, haven't we?
We really have had a great week.
Yeah, this has been crazy. We bring you greetings from the Great River Road. We're in the second week of a 5-week fantasy RV tour of the Mississippi River. We started way up in northern Minnesota where we could literally walk across the river at its source, and we've now on our way down to the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of America, whatever you like, just south of New Orleans where it empties into the Gulf.
We come to you in this episode from the Quad City area, where Illinois and Iowa meet, with the river, now almost half a mile wide, divides the states. We've driven about 800 miles so far and have seen and experienced so much, from riverboat cruises to a bald eagle sanctuary.
We've been doing almost daily reports on RVcommunity.com. That's our private, ad-free online community, and we've also been doing weekly videos on our RV Lifestyle YouTube channel.
But while we're talking about it, and before we get into the RV news of the week, we want to share why we think you need to be a part of the RV community.
You know, life after 50 should be an adventure. I mean, after all, you're not slowing down. Think of yourself as just getting started.
The RV lifestyle community is where RVers over 50 come together to share experience, trade tips, and live life on purpose. It's a private, totally ad-free online community that also has really fun in-person rallies and meetups, all aimed at helping empty nesters and retirees find new adventures, real friends, and everything you need to make RV life fulfilling.
Now, we have made so many friends, new friends, through this community. In fact, we're camping right now with a whole bunch of them on this tour of the Mississippi River that we're taking all month to do. We're not trying to sell you anything. We're inviting you to become part of something that has become really, truly amazing.
In the RV lifestyle community, you'll find RVers just like you. Yes, it has a paywall. That's to keep spammers and scammers out. Plans start for less than a cup of coffee a month.
Some things like true connection are worth paying for. So check it out. At least just check it out. Go to rvcommunity.com because life's best chapter starts at rvcommunity.com. All right, time now for the RV news of the week. And here is a story. I don't know what to make of this. We're going to get some people mad, and probably younger people say, yeah, right on. But let's just talk about that. Ever wonder if somebody is too old to drive? Well, General Motors thinks your car might soon have an answer. Get this, the company has filed a patent request for a system that calculates a driver retirement score. That's what they call it, driver retirement score. It's a digital nudge that supposedly gauges whether you're still sharp behind the wheel. They're going to use sensors that most of which are already built into modern vehicles. It would monitor your reaction times, eye squinting, horn usage, turn signal habits, and how well drivers follow road signs. Now, this system is designed to monitor performance over time and then provide a report that gives you a snapshot of a driver's capabilities as they age. What do you think of that?
Not much.
Me
You
either.
know, I think that they give no credit to people who, as you age, you say, well, I'm not going to drive after dark, or I'm going to drive when most people are at work because it's easier, not as congested, all of that. They're not crediting people with having enough intelligence to say, maybe I need to cut back a little bit or monitor.
There are people, obviously, who do drive, who are too old to drive. I think most of those get found out, family, friends, they stop them. But what I think they need to do is figure out how much alcohol you've had and whether you should be driving. I mean, there should be some way with all this technology we have that would tell people, hey, this guy, the car should be able to tell you, this guy shouldn't be driving. Look at all the alcohol
You
that
know,
they've
maybe
had.
the car not even start
Yeah.
if they can monitor how much alcohol is in somebody's system. And another thing, you're driving down the road and you smell marijuana. I mean, like the car
Yeah,
in front of you,
constantly.
or the truck driver, you smell the marijuana.
We smell it. I mean, on the interstate. A truck driver will pass us and will say, "Oh, it's a dead skunk." No, it's not a dead skunk. It's a truck driver smoking weed. And in these states that have allowed recreational marijuana, it's a mess driving down the road. You know what I'm talking about. It stinks, and you just wonder. I mean, the reason they're smoking that stuff is because it gets them high. Oh, I know some people have medical reasons, and that's fine, but they shouldn't be driving a car when you're smoking weed. Everybody does, and that gets me. And we talk about truck drivers. How about being able to read signs in English?
Yeah, it is helpful to be able to read English. I have a friend whose granddaughter was killed by a driver who had just come here and didn't know how to read English, and this pre-med student just
Died.
died.
Died because some idiot gave this guy a driver's license.
And then there's the cell phone thing. We don't even know how to get into that can of
Oh,
worms,
yeah.
but there's a lot of things out there
Uh, uh,
that interfere with driving. How about just trying to reprogram your GPS when it's acting up?
yeah, people, you take your eyes off the wheel, or your hands off the wheel, or your eyes off the road, and you're adjusting something. There's so many other things. And for GM to be, this is just my opinion, obviously, for GM to be so wise to say they can tell you when you shouldn't be driving because of age, I'm sorry, they don't know from those sensors. Um, well, they're going for it. And like I said, some people are going to think it's great. The couple of generations down from baby boomers are going to think, hey, that's great. Get them all off the road. How about we get the weed smokers off also?
How about the crazy drivers? How about a sensor when people start weaving?
Oh yeah.
You know, they're just in a hurry.
Listen, that is the most dangerous thing when you drive. Everybody, have you noticed that when you're driving, they're all weaving in and out, and nobody seems to be passing on the left. They're passing on the right. They're passing in the left. They're weaving in and out of traffic. Come on, that's not safe.
Personally, I really liked it when we used to get our driver's license renewed, and there was a little test that we had to
Every
take
time.
every
Yeah.
time you got your driver's license renewed. And, you know, you, if you missed a question, that just meant they taught you, they told you what you didn't understand.
Yeah, it wasn't a
It,
very
it
hard
wasn't
test.
like, no, but it was just to keep you a little bit more current on things that have changed over the years. I thought that was really good, but everything is like, let's make it easier. Let's make it so that you only have to come in like once every 20 years, to
Yeah.
have your picture taken. It seems like everything is always trying to make everything easier instead of better.
Oh well, we're going to get too much
We
angry
get a lot
email
of,
on this.
you can get a
Listen,
lot of
these
you
are
mad at us.
opinions. We
This
can
is
all
our
have
opinion.
different opinions. But GM, do those other things if you're going to do a test that supposedly tells if somebody is too old. All right, what else we got for news this week?
Well, the federal government is proposing rescinding a Bureau of Land Management rule enacted a little over a year ago under the Biden administration that made conservation part of its multi-pronged approach to federal land management. The Department of Interior says the rule was an overreach, limiting logging, mining, grazing, and other such uses of BLM land. Conservationists strongly disagree, saying much BLM land is near national parks and needs protection. The public has 60 days to weigh in.
Yeah, we'll put a link in the show notes of this episode where you can file your comments on that. I think for sure it's going to mean prices are going to go up to camp. They're going to start, hey, let's get these RVers that are out there camping on BLM land. I don't know. It's another one that's going to get a lot of controversy. Would like
Hmm.
your send your opinions to us. We'll share them all in future episodes. Hey, you ever wonder what happens to the junk that falls into those delicate hydrothermal areas of Yellowstone National Park? Well, chances are somebody from the Yellowstone Geology program recovers it. They go out there and they use grabber poles, fishing rods, and extra long slotted spoons, And they recently displayed a picture of just some of the hundreds of hats that they've recovered so far. The items need to be removed, they say, to protect damage to those delicate geothermal areas. And besides caps, they've removed Birkenstock sandals, a pizza box with slices still inside, a fake Louis Vuitton bucket hat, and a stuffed koala toy, and more. So hold on to your hats when you're at
And
Yellowstone.
your pizza. Eat in the car.
Mm.
A unique European travel trailer that is the size of a Honda Civic when towing, but opens to 3 times that size, is hitting the American market. The trailer looks sort of like an egg when compacted, but once unhitched, it opens up into a much larger cylinder shape. It has a bedroom, toilet, wet shower, kitchen, sitting area, and it needs to be purchased from a European dealer and then shipped here.
But I bet there's a big tariff on that.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, that's the news of the week. Comments, questions, always welcome. And we'll share the, if we get a lot of them from you, we'll share them right here. And you can find our show notes for this episode with the links to more information on everything we shared at rvlifestyle.com/podcast. And if you want to send us your comments, our personal email, and we read every one, Mike and Jen at rvlifestyle.com.
Okay, now it's time for our RV conversation of the week. And this week there's just like nothing more exciting than seeing wildlife while RVing. But when it comes to bear, that chance encounter can quickly turn terrifying. Just the other week, a woman was attacked by a bear at Glacier National Park when hiking. Fortunately, her partner had bear spray, used it successfully, and the female bear and her cubs, and the woman, everybody was okay. The woman needed some medical help. All the bears were okay. Happy
Yeah,
ending.
there was another really bad attack, Arkansas, but it was from a black bear there, and they said it was the first one that they've ever heard about there, and it severely injured a 70-plus-year-old guy. But anyway, all these bear attacks that we keep hearing about got us thinking, if you were to stumble upon a bear while you're RVing, would you know what to do?
So, our guest is Jason Schwartz, who recently wrote a pocket survival guide called Bear Safety in the Outdoors.
It's a folding pocket guide on how to hike, camp, fish, and RV safely in bear country. Jason is a bushcraft survival specialist, U.S. Army vet, founder of the Rocky Mountain Bushcraft. His bear guide was recently adopted by Yellowstone National Park and is currently being sold at their visitor centers. And Jason joins us on the podcast to help us all become better prepared. Well, Jason joins us right now. And Jason, first of all, welcome to the podcast. This is a very timely message because it seems everything I'm hearing of late is to do with bear attacks. Have you noticed that? This has been a pretty active fall and summer.
Yeah, and good morning, Mike. Thank you for having me on your show. I appreciate that. Yeah, unfortunately, bear attacks have been on the rise over the last 10 years. The main reason is that there's been a lot of human encroachment on bear habitat, combined with it's really a combination of conservation efforts, which have made bears protected but less afraid of humans because they're no longer being hunted the way they used to be, which gave bears a natural fear of humans.
Well,
So
let's
you have those factors coming in, and they're really coming into play right now because most bears have lost their fear of humans. And so you have that encroachment mixed in with those bears being less fearful of humans. And so you have an increase in bear human interactions.
Well, RVers are camping right now. Fall's such a busy time. Many of them are in areas that are known to have bears. Let's talk about some basic things. What are they that RVers need to know? What kind of tools or precautions should they take?
Sure. Well, in most parks, even though every park has its regulations, most parks, generally speaking, if you have a hard-sided RV, it is okay to store your food inside your RV. But that's, of course, that's not always 100% of the case. So you always want to check the rules and regulations for each park as you arrive. Some places may require you to put all of your food into a bear-safe locker. But most places will generally allow you to keep it inside of a hard-sided RV. If you have a pop-up camper, for instance, that's soft-sided, that's a different story. Then they want you to treat that as like your tent camping. So then they're usually going to require you to have some type of outside storage into like a bear-safe locker, or to keep your stuff in a bear safe cooler that's certified by the interagency for grizzly bears that test those coolers and make sure that a bear can't get into those.
Let's talk about bear spray. How important is that for RVers to have?
Yes, every RVer needs to have bear spray. Matter of fact, I would say you should have at least two cans, or really one for every member of the family, because everybody really should be carrying bear spray. They have like a chest rig, or they have a little holster that you can keep those on, so that if somebody is around camp and they have a bear encounter, then they have some way to repel a bear. Bear spray is an excellent way to deal with aggressive food condition bears. That what you'll find, and I'm sure a lot of RVers can testify, is that in some parks, bears can be really aggressive, and they come into your camp and they will push your limits. Some of the more aggressive bears, if you try to scare them off, they'll keep coming. And so bear spray is a great non-lethal way to scare the bear away, and it doesn't actually permanently injure the bear.
Let's talk about the difference between the two kinds of bears that most RVers, campers encounter, black bears and grizzly bears, and sometimes they're both in the same location as well. Are
Yes.
there differences in these two bears that we should be aware of, first of all, in terms of aggression or danger?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, first off, as far as the difference between grizzly bears and black bears, grizzlies tend to have a shoulder hump on their back, which is very noticeable, usually, especially in an adult grizz. They also have like a flatter facial profile. They have shorter ears, and they have larger, more curved claws. Their fur tends to be more of a grizzled appearance, which is, of course, that's how they got their name. Um, and so they have a stouter appearance, generally speaking. Black bears have a straighter profile on their face, and their ears are larger. So that's a key difference right there. It's just their face alone. Even if you can't tell from a distance, if you can't see the hump really well, if there is or is not, and a black bear, of course, will not have a hump on its back. Black bears will actually have shorter claws compared to a grizz, and they're less curved. So that's the main difference in as far as the appearance, because black bears, they can be all kinds of colors. You can see cinnamon bears, and there have even been albino bears before, which is quite a sight to behold. But because of those different colors, people get confused between the black bear and the grizzly bear. So, but you can usually tell if you just look at their facial profile, the lack of a hump, you can usually see that difference.
What about the temperaments of the two bears? Is there any real difference? They both are dangerous, I know that, but do we behave differently when we encounter one of them?
Yes, absolutely. Grizzly bears are short tempered. They have a very defined personal space around them. It can be 50 yards for one bear, it can be 100 yards for another bear, and they will defend that space. And the reason why grizzly bears tend to be more defensive and sometimes more aggressive is that they actually evolved in a more open terrain where there weren't as many trees. So they basically had to fight to defend their area, and so they're not used to just running away. Whereas a black bear, they evolved in more wooded areas. So they evolved to run up trees and escape from danger. So generally speaking, they have a softer temperament in that way, even though they can be, of course, they can be, aggressive and can attack. They generally speaking are more docile compared to a grizz. So with a grizzly bear, you got to be extra careful when if you have an encounter with a grizz, you got to be extra careful because their temperament is touchy, to say the least. So you want to make sure that you treat them with great respect. Where a black bear, if you encounter a black bear, if you generally stand your ground with a black bear, and when I say stand your ground, I mean like raise your arms up, stand your ground, stomp your feet, yell, things like that. A black bear generally will run off and go run up a tree somewhere. So that's generally, even if they have cubs, they'll generally run away from you.
Should we be making noise as we're walking through bear country, no matter what kind of a bear is around?
Absolutely. Yeah. Everywhere you're at in bear country, you want to make yourself known. You do not want to surprise a bear. Uh, bears, generally speaking, when they're eating, they're very, very sensitive, and they will defend whatever they're eating very vigorously. So you want to make a lot of noise, and that's even more especially when you're walking. Say if you get caught walking upwind, for instance, where the bear can't smell
Okay.
you before they see you.
Let's start with black bears. We see a black bear in the path, comes out in front of us. What should we do?
Sure. Well, if you see a black bear, just keep in mind that black bears, because they're less aggressive and they scare easier than a grizz, you want to treat them with respect, but you never want to run, even with a black bear, because if you run from them, it'll trigger their instinct to chase you as a predator. So you never want to run. What you want to do is you want to just very slowly put your hands up, make yourself look large, or if you have a hiking staff, hold it over your head and then kind of look away gently and then say, "Hey, bear, sorry, I'm backing away." And then just keep backing away. Obviously, don't try to keep an eye of what's behind you so you don't trip and fall. But you want to back away and just very slowly get out of that area while you're kind of keeping an eye on what they're doing. So that's generally, and that's really for both types of bears. So if you're just talking about a defensive counter, that's pretty much the same with both a black bear and a grizz.
What about these charges? A bear will do a charge, a false charge sometime, I guess they're called. But
Bluff charge, yeah,
obviously, we want to have our bear spray ready. But
sure.
what do we do when they're coming and it looks like they're really coming?
Sure. If a bear actually bluff charges you, the problem is that you may or may not know how much of a bluff it is. With a grizzly bear, that charge may turn into where it wants to take some swipes at you and severely injure you. Black bears, generally speaking, if they're charging, they're going to bluff charge and then they're going to back off. But you're not really going to know absolutely for sure, especially if you're inexperienced around bears, what kind of charge that's going to be, whether they're actually going to commit to the attack. So in that particular case, if the bear charges at you, you want to actually just get your bear spray out immediately and be ready to deploy your bear spray. And then deploy it on them as soon as they get within, I would say, at least five to 10 yards as they're coming up to you. And at the same time, even after you do that, you still want to do the things like make yourself big, make yourself look intimidating. Because what you're trying to do is you're not trying to aggravate the situation, but you want to make yourself not look like an easy target. So you want to just get them to back out. If it's a grizz, after you've sprayed them, of course, you want to just get out of there. Well, any bear, you want to just get out of the area. But you just have to treat that very delicately. But I would just say deploy your bear spray immediately and then get out of the area as soon as possible. And also notify park authorities that you've had an encounter because that particular bear there could be a problem for other hikers.
Now, I just read a story today that was making the wires. This just before we began this interview. It was recounting a case of a couple of hikers who were attacked by a grizzly, and the one just got down in the fetal position, with his face to the ground and covered its head. And I guess the bear scratched his backpack a little bit and did break some skin, but it left him alone. Is that a valid tactic after you've deployed, and if they're coming and they're going to get you?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, if you deploy your bear spray and the bear keeps coming at you, it didn't stop because occasionally bear spray will fail. It's not 100%. So you can never fully rely on anything really. So you want to be prepared to drop down. What you want to do is you want to drop down face down. You want to keep your backpack on so to protect your back. You want to take your hands and you want to clasp that over your head so you can protect your head, which is a very sensitive, dangerous area to be attacked in. So you want to protect your skull, and you want to just get down and curl up as much as you can so that you're not an easy target. And that bear, if he's swiping at you, he won't do as much damage if you're like that in protection mode.
And then just the general rule about a campsite, particularly with more and more of us now camping off grid and boondocking out in the wild. Uh,
Sure.
how do you police your campsite to make sure that there's nothing there that is going to attract a bear while you're at the campfire, or whether you're inside sleeping? You still don't want them pounding on your door, you know?
Sure.
what kind of we've heard stories about how powerful the scent of food is to a bear. What are
Yes.
the mistakes we often make with a campsite?
Sure. Well, a good general rule of thumb is just to keep everything clean. When you're at home, you generally don't leave food around on the floor. You clean it up. You don't leave dirty dishes piled all around your place. You clean that up. You want to apply that same strategy to your campsite. You want to keep everything as clean as possible. If you have any food that you drop on the ground, you want to pick it up. If you have food that fell on a picnic table, for instance, or a little camp table that you brought in your RV, you want to scrub it. You want to get it clean. Clean up all your dirty dishes. Get everything cleaned as much as you can. So never leave any food smells around. Don't leave dirty dishes around. Clean food particles, things like that, anywhere that you can find them. So just keep a clean camp. And if you do that, most bears are gonna avoid you, and they're gonna go to the camp right down the next campsite on a primitive road in a national forest, and they're gonna go after their camp because they weren't as clean and they left their food out. So you want to make yourself a small of or you don't want to make yourself an easy target for a bear. So you want to just keep the campsite clean.
What about dogs? What about our pets? Either taking them on a hiking trail or just at the campsite tied up. Uh, do dogs in particular bring out any instincts in a bear?
Yes, bears will view a dog just like they would a wolf. So they view a dog as another predator, as a threat to them. So if they see an unleashed dog running around, they're probably going to go chase it, or they're going to be very aggressive with it. And so what happens when an unleashed dog is out running around and it encounters a bear, and then that bear starts chasing it? It's going to chase it. The dog is going to run right back to you, the owner, and then the bear is going to be right in your camp. So that's usually what's going to happen if you have an unleashed dog. So you want to always keep your dog on a leash. That's the biggest thing. No matter whether you're walking a dog or if you're in camp, you never let your dog run around. That's a real serious threat. And it can actually make bears more aggressive too, especially an unleashed dog.
And barking. They don't like the barking, do they? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
That's like shouting insults at the bear. So, all right,
Right.
last question as we record this is, of course, it's fall, and this is a particularly active time for bears, isn't it? Explain why,
Yes.
and if there's more precautions we should take.
Sure. Well, right now we're in a time that's called known as hyperphagia. So a bear basically has to eat in a very short amount of time in between the winter and the rest of the year. They have to eat as much as they possibly can. They have to pack on tons and tons of calories because when they go into hibernation, they have to survive the entire winter off of the fat reserves that they have in their body. So, especially this time of the year, there's a real sense of urgency for a bear to really pile it on, if that makes sense. They have to just eat and eat and eat because it's a survival instinct for them. Because of that, this is probably the most dangerous time of year for bear encounters because they're going to be very aggressive about wanting to eat. So you have to realize that and really be extra careful with how you keep your camp clean and conduct yourself when you're out of bear country.
Well, Jason Swartz, you have been a terrific interview. You've given us some really practical tips, and I hope people will bookmark this interview. But more importantly, I hope they get your guide, and we will put a link to it. You can order it on Amazon. And
Yes,
just as we mentioned in the intro to Jason, his book is available at Yellowstone National Park. So
yes,
clearly, that tells you that the National Park Service really endorses all the things that you have been suggesting that we take care of. Thank you, and I hope to meet you around a campfire someday. I bet we got some great stories we could hear from you.
that would be awesome, Mike. I would love that.
All right,
So
thank you so much for being on the interview, Jason.
great. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
All right, if you're interested in Jason's booklet, we'll put a link in the show notes. And again, that's rvlifestyle.com/podcast.
I really think it's a good idea to get that guide because we become comfortable and think bears are teddy bears. We
Yeah.
just get too relaxed, and you need to have knowledge.
Now, I didn't ask him about firearms in the podcast interview, uh, primarily because it would generate a lot of hate mail. But I did ask him off camera, and I want to share that. Jason said that he is not against people using firearms or bringing firearms with them when they're out in bear country, particularly if you're way far away. He said that the one caveat he has is that you should be extremely well trained in using a firearm, and that's true of any firearm anytime. And he said you also need to have a really high caliber, powerful handgun. Very interesting information from him. And he said that there are, and this part I thought was pretty interesting. He said there are a growing number of predator bears, bears that have been acclimated to humans, learned how to get food from humans, and then learned if they are extremely aggressive, they can maybe get more food. So um, he's not against using a handgun, but he is against it if you're not well trained, and that means that you need to go out on the range often. Same with any firearm usage. All right, that is the conversation of the week, and right now we want to ask you about your camping habits. Are you tired of expensive campgrounds and crowded RV parks?
What if we told you there's a way to discover amazing overnight stays across the U.S. and Canada for just $49 a year?
And if you stay tuned, we can save you quite a bit off of that rate. So let's tell you about RV overnights.
RV Overnights connects you with incredible hosts at farms, wineries, breweries, and unique roadside attractions that welcome RVers with open arms.
These aren't just parking spots, they're experiences. Many locations offer electric and water hookups, and you can often stay for multiple days. Picture yourself waking up in a vineyard in Napa, or parking beside a working farm in Montana, or discovering that quirky roadside museum you never knew existed. These are real small business owners who genuinely love meeting fellow travelers and sharing their slice of America.
We've been using RV overnights this summer and have just been delighted with the places we've stayed, like a bison ranch where we got up close and personal with some bison and had a beautiful bison pasture to camp in. Planning your adventure with RV overnights incredibly easy. They have a great app and desktop, website.
All right, here's the best part. Our listeners get an exclusive 40% off their annual membership. Just use the promo code RVLDEAL when you sign up. Don't miss out on this game-changing way to travel. Head to rvlifestyle.com/RVovernights right now. And remember, use the promo code RVLDEAL and you'll save 40% off that already low $49 price tag.
And now it's time for the social media buzz. Wendy Boyer reports on the hot issues most talked about this past week on social media and our RV Lifestyle Community Group.
Hi everybody. In our private RV lifestyle community, the buzz this past week has been the Mississippi River trip. Many members are on this adventure with Mike and Jen, traveling down the Mississippi River from up in Minnesota all the way down to New Orleans, and they've been sharing pictures, talking about all they're seeing and doing. And Mike and Jen, in a section we have called Mike and Jen Today, are journaling almost daily about the things they're seeing, sharing pictures, sharing their adventures. And it's so much fun to look at the Mississippi River when it's just this trickle of water, or see these beautiful cathedrals they're getting to see, waterfalls, community campfires. I don't know. I'm living vicariously through these posts, and I think I'm not alone. So that has been the buzz in our private community. And in our Facebook group, so many conversations on so many things, but one that caught my eye was from Mona. And Mona wrote, "What does toad mean?" And she wanted to know what frog meant as well. Now, she seemed to know that toad is a vehicle that's towed behind your RV. She wanted to know, what do the letters TOAD stand for? Well, people got kind of silly on this post, saying all sorts of things, but she did get her answer, and that, of course, is that towed is a play on words. It stands for a towed vehicle, TOWED, not a toad, the little thing that hops around. And of course, a frog, that is actually an acronym, and FROG stands for Forest River Owners Group. But this post got me thinking about all the different terms RVers use. It's almost like a foreign language sometimes. I'm sure you've heard the word diesel pusher. I didn't know what that was in the beginning, but do now. A diesel pusher, of course, is a rear engine diesel motorhome. Or what about sticks and bricks? That, of course, stands for a home that's built on a foundation, get it, sticks and bricks, versus one that's on wheels. Or how about stinky slinky? That was one that cracked me up when I heard the first time. And a stinky slinky, of course, is a sewer hose that is stinky because it's a sewer hose, and slinky looking because it has this accordion type quality to it. Anyway, there's a whole lingo out there, and it was fun to see all the answers on that post. And that's it for me this week. I'm Wendy Boyer, and I'll see you either in our private RV lifestyle community or Facebook group.
Well, thank you very much, Wendy. Always interesting to hear what everybody's talking about out there, and we do tend to have our own little languages, don't we? Our little
We really
lingo.
do.
Yeah. You ever thought about getting your own RV land to camp on? Multi-acre land that you can use however you want, whenever you want? Well, it's hard to find. As we've been telling you week after week, there are not a lot of places around the country that let you get land that you can use your way. We know of two places, one in Arizona, one in Tennessee. Rocky Lake is one of the most visited sites in Tennessee. It's one of the biggest lakes east of the Mississippi and a great vacation spot, perfect for RVers. Tennessee Land and Lakes is launching a grand opening of new property at the lake. They're big properties that allow for RVs near Paris Landing State Park, right near the marina, golf courses, resorts, and a slew of other great attractions. It's one of the most popular parts of the lake where it's at its widest and a really beautiful spot. There are large acreage, 5 to 29 acre sites in size, designed for privacy at great prices for the area with dedicated private access to Kentucky Lake. It's an ideal setup for RVers. Prices start at $99,900, and they've got woods and fields and views, cottages, and more with electric and high-speed internet. You can get details and a video tour at rvlands.net. Visit rvlands.net to get started. It's pretty incredible. One of the most exciting developments for RVs is happening out west in Arizona. Western Land and Ranches is selling 5-acre high-elevation ranches just off the famous Route 66, the birthplace of the American road trip. And these are beautiful, secluded tracts of land surrounded by majestic mountain ranges with sweeping valley views. The high elevation is a unique microclimate as well, giving you cooler temperatures, green grasses, and tree cover, making it unique for desert property. The community is in the center of it all, close to the best of the West: Grand Canyon, Las Vegas, Lake Havasu, Lake Mead, Lake Mojave, the Colorado River, Flagstaff, Sedona, and historic Williams. If you're tired of crowded RV parks and paying high fees for sites, well, ownership might be right for you. This incredible collection of mountaintop properties called Greenwood Ranches hit the market, and it's selling out fast. There is no HOA. You can build a house, a cabin, outbuildings, or just RV. It's your property, your way, 100% ownership. Visit the website to get details and set up a showing, ArizonaRVland.net. That's ArizonaRVland.net. All right, hey, we should also tell you that we're hearing about some new multi-acreage property that will soon be available in eastern Alabama. Now, we're chasing down more information on this, but we're told it should be available sometime next month. And as soon as we get an exact location and the details, we'll share them with you. So stay tuned. As we said, it's hard to find multi-acreage land that you can develop and camp on whenever you want without any restrictions. So we'll let you know what we find out about that Alabama property as soon as we have the details.
And now it's time for the RV question of the week. And this week's question is from David. What are the most reliable stackable washer and dryers for RVs out there?
Well, by far and away, the brand that most RVers use in their RV is Splendide, and that's spelled Splendide. And we've had their combo washer and dryer that was in our previous fifth wheel. And now in our new Brinkley fifth wheel, we have a stackable system with the washer on the bottom and the dryer on the top. And in fact, it's running right now as we record this podcast. Splendide is a brand, is available through many RV dealers and is also available through Amazon. We'll put a link in the show notes if you want to go check it out there.
So it's really important to tell you that for maximum efficiency and to avoid excessive humidity in the RV, the dryer needs to be vented outside, meaning they have to cut a hole through the sidewall of the RV.
Now, there are ventless brands out there, but our recommendation is stay away from them. They really will put a lot of humidity. You don't want mold, and that's a problem. Okay, you could run a dehumidifier and all that stuff, and some of them say they have technology that minimizes all that. But just the best way to do it is to put a vent in, and it's not a problem at all. You don't have to worry about anything crawling into your RV. They really do make a difference.
Now, we got to tell you, obviously, these are much smaller than the home systems you may be used to, or the commercial washers and dryers and laundromats. You will most likely have to do multiple loads, so it's good to do a little every day, and you want to be in a campground to use them with on-site sewer and water hookups.
So depending on what your wash cycle is set for, they generally use between 10 and 16 gallons of water. So if you're using them while you're boondocking, you're going to go through your freshwater supply very fast. They do need at least 30 amps to really run. The dryer takes up a pretty good amount of juice. So again, you'll want to be at a full campsite.
Now, we use Splendide, but there are other brands out there.
Yeah, there are. Splendide is obviously the best known brand, but lately a compact stackable system by LG has supposedly has a lot of fans. I read some comments on one of the social media sites where people say it's quieter and really nice. You can find those LG compact washer dryers at Lowe's and Costco, and Whirlpool. It supposedly makes a compact stackable system that's showing up in some RVs. Home Depot and some RV dealers will sell those.
You know, what I'm really curious about, Splendide are made in Canada, I believe.
I think so, yeah.
So I wonder how reliable these other brands are, and I wonder if they're made in the States.
Nothing.
I wonder what prices are. I don't know.
Well, prices generally, like the stackable system is about $2,100, not counting installation. A combo unit is probably around $1,500 or so, $1,200 to $1,500. Sometimes they're on sales. So we'll put links to all the stuff that we could find on our in our show notes if you're thinking about it. And I want to point out we have not had experience with the other brands. We have with Splendide, and I think we're pretty pleased with the performance.
Mm-hmm.
How many loads of laundry are you doing today?
3.
3.
That's because we have a king-size bed, so I need 2 loads to do the sheets, the bottom and the top sheet. And then I had some dark clothes.
All right, so you've done 3. If we were at home and you're using the washer dryer, how many loads would you have done to do the same amount of clothes?
2.
2. So so for every 2 loads you do at home, you're going to do 3 loads on the road.
Yeah.
But still, it's a really nice convenience to have, isn't it? I
And if you want to lose some weight, sometimes you're kind
It
of
does.
shaking.
Sometimes
you
it
know
does.
those little vibrator things that you step on at
Yeah, like a
different
vibrating
shows,
bed,
and they'll go, "Well, this is how you lose weight. You stand and thing."
Sometimes it does shake the whole RV when it really gets winding up. But
it gets a little lopsided or something.
all right.
Adds to the adventure.
All right, you can share your opinions on washer dryers. You might have a thought that we missed. We'd love to hear those, and we'll pass them on. Our personal email, Mike and Jen at rvlifestyle.com. And that's the podcast this week. We look forward to joining you next week. Don't forget, rvcommunity.com. We're doing pretty much daily reports as we trace the Mississippi River, and we'll have more videos every Saturday on YouTube, plus our live streams on YouTube and the RV community. So lots of content coming this week.
Happy trails.